Hello. Welcome to the sleep clinic. How are you doing? Excellent, excellent. May I ask what brought you in to the clinic today? Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, problems with sleeping happen to be one of our specialties. Can I ask if you experience a general sense of stress or anxiety, maybe throughout your day, before you even lay down to sleep? Okay. Mild. I think a mild sense of anxiety is pretty common for pretty much all of us. So that's perfectly fine. Just being able to talk about our feelings and maybe the feelings of stress or anxiety that we feel, it's a really good first step to getting a handle on those feelings once and for all, and hoping to either reverse them or at least slowly transition from feelings of anxiety to feelings of calm, happiness, self-acceptance. So let me just jot down a few other notes here. Your trouble sleeping, is that something that has been kind of a persistent issue or kind of a new development? Okay. Definitely stress during our day is a big contributor to problems with sleeping. So, my suspicion is that the anxiety that you are feeling throughout your day has a lot to do with your problems sleeping at night. So let's spend this session going over some tips and tools for reducing that anxiety that you're feeling. Okay? What I have found to be one of the most effective approaches is what's known as humanistic psychology. Humanistic psychology, rather than examining problems or negative parts of the personality and the mind, humanistic psychology examined people who were happy, productive, that felt that they were meeting their true potential in life, and that were leading happy, fulfilled lives. And so based on that research, looking at people that were feeling happy and successful, Abraham Maslow was able to develop what he called a hierarchy of human needs. And essentially this little hierarchy of needs is a way of kind of taking an inventory of our self-care, or how well we're taking care of ourselves. And basically, upon observing all of these happy people, he was able to kind of put this hierarchy of needs together. And so we're going to use that to help maybe diagnose some of our own areas that we can put a little bit more attention into, and kind of serve as a guide for us to improve our general feelings of positivity, of confidence, And typically, what tends to happen is that as we satisfy more of these human needs, we move more to that feeling of fulfillment, happiness, and an absence or at least reduction of anxiety. How does that sound? A little scary? That's okay. That's completely okay. We're just going to take each little section individually. At the base of the hierarchy of needs are our physiological needs. So those are the basic physical and nutritional needs that our bodies have. And from the perspective of reducing anxiety and stress, this is about just recognizing any physical components that might be contributing. So addressing our physiological needs means looking at the foods that we're eating, our sleep schedule, and how much we sleep. So some of the nutritional needs that can contribute directly to feelings of anxiety and stress would be B vitamins, magnesium, which is an essential electrolyte mineral that's really important in helping muscles to relax. A lot of times we have an excess of sodium in our diets and a deficiency of things like magnesium and potassium and selenium. These other minerals are extremely important, and having a diet of lots of different vegetables and healthy natural foods is a great way to help satisfy those nutritional needs. One specific example of how nutritional deficiencies can disrupt our mood and ability to sleep are constant headaches. So a lot of the patients that we work with tend to have frequent headaches. So we've found that this supplement has been extremely helpful. It's called My Brain by a company called Natural, and they make a variety of different supplements targeted to different conditions. So the headache blend contains B vitamins, vitamin D, magnesium, as well as a blend of herbs that can help. But this is just one simple example of how a physical issue or nutritional deficiency can kind of domino effect things that either just cause us general discomfort or that can actually prevent us from being able to sleep or being able to relax. So, physiological needs. Also, remember that you can use these different needs as kind of a checklist for yourself, so that when you're feeling bad, you can kind of go through the list. And so the first thing would be asking yourself, am I taking care of my physiological needs? What could I do to eat more nutritious foods? Be a little more active. Starting a yoga practice is a fantastic way to support your physiological needs. But again, just remembering that there can often be a physical component to our mental and emotional stress. Okay. that's a great question. And I definitely think that there's a lot we can do with simply eating natural foods, trying to avoid things like refined sugar, alcohol, caffeine, all of these types of potential toxins, potential aggravations, or inflammation sources that can be reduced in the diet, and then just trying to eat as much as possible healthy foods, perhaps a multivitamin or a magnesium supplement, something like that. So the next rung, so to speak, on the hierarchy of needs are the safety needs. Now, these aren't quite as easy or as tangible to think about as the physiological needs, but this is just about recognizing that if we feel that our safety is threatened, that's going to cause a lot of mental and emotional stress. So looking at things like, how can I help myself to feel more safe or feel more secure? Things like financial security, safety within our home, are all little components that can play in here. And just remembering that if there is someone or something that you feel is a threat to your safety or your feeling of safety, then that person or that thing probably needs to change so that you can feel more safe and more comfortable. Moving to the next level, we're going to have our love and belonging needs. This refers to not only romantic love, which can sometimes be a factor, whereas a romantic relationship can cause a lot of mental or emotional stress. It also refers to our general relationships with our family, our friends, our coworkers. And so recognizing and being able to look at the relationships that we have with those different people in our lives can be very helpful as you start to observe relationships that may not be helping you to feel that sense of love and belonging. And if there's a person in your life that is cruel or judgmental or just downright mean, either talking to that person or just finding ways to distance yourself from that person can be a really good idea. And from the perspective of using this as a tool to improve our mood and our emotions, if you can find someone to talk to or a group that helps give you that sense of love and belonging, that can have a really profound effect on just our overall sensations of anxiety or stress. One of the wonderful things about the internet is that it gives us a great opportunity to connect with people all over the world, to find people that have common values or common interests, and just trying to have that connection and feel that sense of love and belonging. If it's not with people in your physical environment, then maybe finding a group of people online that you can connect with, and just having someone to talk to, someone to listen to us, is a great part of that love and belonging puzzle piece. Do you have any questions before we continue to the next rung of needs? No, I don't think so. I don't think that having a romantic partner is necessary for satisfying the love and belonging needs. Oftentimes, romantic relationships can bring more grief and more trouble into our lives. So I think the most important part is that it's a healthy relationship with someone that has a good relationship with themselves, and just knowing that a bad relationship is probably worse, much worse, than no relationship at all. I know I certainly would agree with that from personal experience. And I really do believe that perhaps the most important part of this love and belonging component is having that healthy relationship with ourselves as a precursor or prerequisite to going into any kind of romantic relationship with someone else. Having self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and just accepting who we are without judgment is truly at the crux of satisfying these love and belonging needs. So now we keep moving up the little hierarchy here into esteem needs. And I think this kind of is a great, kind of offspring from what I was just saying, which is that having a healthy relationship with ourselves and a lot of self-love and self-acceptance is essential to having those healthy relationships, romantically or otherwise. So our esteem needs, in many ways, are not about how others perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves. And I think this is one of the hardest components to truly master. We as humans have a tendency to be pretty hard on ourselves. The same benefit we get from wanting to push ourselves and to expect more from ourselves also can have a negative effect as we maybe feel like we're not good enough, or we're not smart enough, or whatever the thing is that we're not enough of. That kind of nagging feeling really gets the better of us. And it's not easy to fully accept ourselves. But when you can do that, you unlock an entire realm of happiness and energy and motivation that feels hard to come by when we're in a state of self-judgment. So I like to use these little positive affirmations. Anytime I'm feeling stress or anxiety or feeling frustrated with myself, to say, I accept myself without judgment. I love myself. And I know that I bring a great deal of good into the world around me. I accept myself. I'm compassionate with myself. I'm understanding and forgiving. And I treat myself with the same compassion that I would treat a small child or my best friend. I fully and completely accept myself without judgment. And sometimes we'll still catch ourselves making judgments on ourselves, but just starting to notice those judgments and giving yourself permission to let go of that judgment. It's a really great habit to just start incorporating. Self-esteem can also come from helping others. Doing something good for another person, contributing of ourselves to the greater good, or simply reaching out to another person and helping them through something, or just supporting them through that thing that may be difficult or painful. Anytime we give of ourselves, for me, it's one of the most esteem-building things I can do. And especially when we feel ourselves getting maybe kind of hung up or tied up with feelings of low self-esteem and self-judgment, rather than thinking more about ourselves and all the things we don't like about ourselves, move your attention to the world around you and ask, what can I do to help someone else? And just see if that doesn't help you feel better. You want to try that with me? Thinking of something nice that we could do for someone else. Helping someone carry something heavy. Like helping someone carry something heavy. Helping a friend move. Helping a family member to clean the house or make a meal. Volunteering our time or money, if that's what you have extra of, to help a good cause. I don't think there's much in life that can give as warm and fuzzy and wonderful of a feeling as reaching out and helping someone in need. Okay, so there are a few versions of Maslow's hierarchy. What's often referred to as the expanded hierarchy will include cognitive and aesthetic needs. So those are our needs to learn new things, our need for beautiful things, aesthetic things. So we'll just kind of take those in parts. Our cognitive needs. Now, this is something I can observe very easily for myself, in that when I learn something new or something interesting, it makes me happy. I love learning new things. I especially love when I learn new things that can help me to improve my health or improve my mental focus, my positivity, my mood, and even just learning fun facts or fun trivia. Just working our brain, working our mind has a very positive and uplifting effect. And I think a lot of times in this modern age we live in, we can go through an entire day or an entire week without really learning anything. We're just being entertained, and we go to work, and then we come home and we watch something entertaining. So again, just kind of using this as your kind of little mental checklist, and that when you're feeling anxious or stressed, this is one of the things you can ask yourself. Well, have I been exercising my mind? What have I learned recently? Maybe do I have a book lying around that I could go and read to learn something interesting? I think this is another reason why we gravitate towards shows like, Jeopardy and trivia and, there's a lot of different game shows like this, right? Even Wheel of Fortune, or learning new words, oftentimes. There's also a lot of different games out there that are word puzzles or other types of mind games and mind challenging quizzes, stuff like that. And those can be a really great resource for fulfilling those cognitive needs. Similarly, we have our aesthetic needs. A need for beauty. For me, my feeling of aesthetic needs are most satisfied by things in nature. As you may have noticed, like having flowers and plants and trees. I love spending time outdoors. Again, I think there's that physiological component that being in nature gives us more oxygen, gives us all of these phytochemicals that are released from the plants and the trees. And there's actually a lot of physical components that make being outdoors very healthy. But then also just the beauty around me. When I'm in a lush green forest or sitting by a river with beautiful rapids. These aesthetic needs can also refer to creating things that are beautiful. We get a great sense of happiness and reward if we feel that we've created something artistic or beautiful. And I think it also extends back to those needs of helping others. So especially if you create something that is beautiful and that can help people, that is one of the most, uplifting things that we can do. And I just encourage you to remember that self-compassion and that self-acceptance. And that if you are getting caught up in feelings like I'm not artistic enough or I'm not talented enough, let those feelings go. They do not serve you, and they just aren't true. Everyone is artistic. Everyone is talented in our own different ways. And so letting go of those self-judgments that maybe tell us otherwise is a great way to kind of break through some of those apprehensions that are maybe preventing us from fulfilling those aesthetic, creative needs. So what types of creative or aesthetic things do you like to do? Okay, excellent. Yes, lots of fun. I love doing arts and crafts and paper mache. I think the combination of the aesthetic, the creative, the fun, and the nostalgic, now you've got a lot of different needs that are being met. So, yes, all types of fun arts and crafts are fair game. Now, I think that we could spend an entire session on the final two rungs of the hierarchy, depending on which one you refer to, which are the self-actualization needs, and then there's even transcendental needs above that. But self-actualization is about that feeling of purpose and fulfillment, to feel completely fulfilled and like we are following our purpose. And fulfilling our purpose is the final component of true happiness and all of those happy, productive people that Maslow was studying. Finding our purpose can sometimes feel challenging. So I want you to think about it in between now and our next visit. And maybe even a good topic to journal about. Remember to let go of any frustration or self-judgment that might come up as you're thinking about your purpose and what would make you feel truly fulfilled. And when we get together next, we'll talk more about self-actualization and how to truly embrace and embody that purpose and that true fulfillment that I believe each of us seek, whether we realize it or not. So before we close, do you have any other thoughts or questions? Okay. None for now. That's perfectly fine. I've given you a lot of different things to think about today. So just remember that above all, practice that self-acceptance, that self-love, being just as kind and compassionate to yourself as you would be to your very best friend in the whole world. And I just want to thank you so much for coming into the clinic. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And you can schedule your next session with our receptionist up front. Well, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And I look forward to seeing you at our next session. Bye.